right, there's a quorum present, so we'll go ahead and proceed with the meeting. The first thing on the agenda is a consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All right, I have a motion second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Okay, that is approved. All right, the next thing on here is going to be delegations, and I believe we have Mr. Joey Cooper here. Sir.
Right here, fine.
Yes, sir.
All right, my privilege, Bill, before you tonight, I'm gonna tell you just a little bit. I've got my better half with me. I better introduce her first. My wife, Renee Cooper. She is a special needs teacher at Camden Elementary School in Camden. I've been a school board member for 26 plus years. Talking to your superintendent, and we got a common friend, Betty Jo Douglas. Me and her started at the same time. She started as superintendent, and I started as school board member, and I'm presently the chairman. So all I can say is bless your heart.
Thank you.
I've had the privilege of being a member of the U-Trust board for the last 9 years, and really enjoyed that. And I'm one of 2 West Tennessee representatives in the U-Trust, and so I've been serving there, and like I said, it's a great organization, and I want to tell you just a little. I won't take much of your time, I promise you that, because I've been in that seat and I know how precious it is. And it's cold and you're ready to go home already. So Chester County is a charter member of our U-Trust. In fact, you've been a member since 1980 when the U-Trust was established, and the decision to join U-Trust has been one of the great financial decisions that any board could make. And we appreciate your participation in the trust, and we promise you that your board will never stop receiving benefits from your membership with us. And hopefully it's been a great membership and a partnership over these years. Our job at U-Trust is to help school system contain unemployment costs. And we are delighted whenever a school system goes an entire year without any unemployment claims. The award I have tonight is named after a man named Charles Bredwell. Charles was a past president of the Tennessee School Board Association. I had the privilege of meeting him and talking with him a little bit. He's a wonderful school board member, much like probably y'all are. He has a real heart for children. So this is an important award, and it's rightly named after a fine man. But this award is presented to the school system with the lowest percentage of unemployment claims per employee during the fiscal year. And for 2014, we had a system that had 0 claims, and that happened to be Chester County. And when a school system has no unemployment claims, it's established some healthy employment practices, and it's a strong indication that employees enjoy working for the system. And having no claims for a year is particularly significant for Chester County, since you've averaged more than $15,000 a year over the past 5 years. So you went from that $15,000 to 0, which is a great accomplishment. And on behalf of the U-Trust Board, I want to recognize you because Chester County had no unemployment claims for the entire year. That being said, if Troy Kilzer will come forward, I would love to present this to you on behalf of the U-Trust, and y'all just keep up the good work.
Thank you,
We're
sir.
so proud of you and the job y'all do down here.
I appreciate
All right?
that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you to the whole board.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming. You should have jumped up there like I did the selfies and stick your head up there.
All right, Mr. Cooper, thank you very much, sir. All right, the next person here is to represent the city on the tax vote coming up. Yes, sir. Would you like to address the board?
No, but I will. Mayor King called me, I guess it was Monday, and said that he had a conflict, so they have a board meeting tonight. Of course, what they're trying to do, what we're all trying to do is do the best with the tax money we can. And if they vote this new tax, if they continue the tax we've got now, the school system's gonna come out somewhere around $180,000 extra a year. Because all those funds right now are going to pay off the high school. One of them will be paid off next, in 15, and next year will be well, the next one will be in 16. So, what we would like to see done, y'all gonna have a windfall, well, the way I understand him, y'all gonna have a windfall tax coming in off the 74 stuff, because the 74 is going to have to pay all this stuff to the 74 tax that came in. I guess it's on the junior high, I'm not for sure.
Junior high, 74.
But all that's gonna go in to pay for that all went into the retiring debt on the new high school also. So what we would request, when he's requesting, we would request that y'all put that into a capital outlay account instead of going into the general fund, because we must all face it sooner or later right now on some of the schools, especially the high school probably. And with the way things are now, we can't raise the money to do it unless we raise on property tax, and we have no intention of raising property tax, I promise you that. So, but we would like for y'all to consider putting all that money, the 74 money and this tax money here into the capital outlay account. So, if y'all got any questions, do my best to answer them for you, but
I've already voted at number 8.
Again, I'd like to say, we would like to request that y'all put that into that.
Well, we do appreciate the fact that the city mayor and yourself are considerate to our schools to keep them well funded so we can continue to do these projects. Because we do have some renovations and some new projects down the road that we're probably going to have to invest in.
I knew that.
We just hope that and we don't. And I personally do not want to see monies go into a general fund because it'll get lost in the budget and never be devoted. So,
Okay.
so we have that intention. I tell Mayor King that we're very appreciative.
I sure will. And of course, we had that on our ballot this summer to continue ours too, which it failed by 300 votes. That would help everybody to a little bit. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mayor.
You have another question? Okay, thank you.
Just wait, let's pass until 16, whenever.
Okay, the next thing on our agenda is going to be the approval of the 2015-2016 calendar. I'm going to let Troy cover that for us, please.
Well, if you turn to the very last page, I think, in your package, what you've been seeing, it's just the Word document of 200-page or 200-day school calendar as it has been provided in the past. What there's, as I shared with you in some of your content with your agenda, I have had conversations with personnel, teachers, parents, administrators, supervisors. They've all been able to voice their interest. In fact, in the last meeting that I had with faculty representatives from each of the schools, we met together here in this room. I shared with them my thoughts and my desires to see where our calendar would go. And they voiced in some thoughts that were consistently agreed upon by those who were present. And I thought they were worthy to consider and folded them in. The one that, well, there's a few things that I got no dissension with was I wanted to see the school year start in August rather than the end of July, which they were appreciative of that. Because I know they work hard, and to feel that you've got a good solid summer that you can enjoy, kind of rest and get recharged personally, professionally. So the goal was to start in August instead of July. And then, again, to get your 90 days in, that would carry our first term through to the 22nd. Instead of, as it was this past semester, that we just finishing on the 18th and 19th. rather send kids on Monday instead of having to deal with one more day with the kids at home, staff development. The second thing that I want to point out deals with the parent-teacher conferences, and that's where it also applies back to our board policies as they currently read. The reason why I support to have 2 parent-teacher conferences instead of 1 is because when we schedule the first one, which is significant, it's important for us to have a good positive message early in the year to be able to set the parameters to the families and the families to the parents and to the teachers about what expectations are for their children as far as for their learning. But to get that accomplished in October and not have anything formally for the rest of the school year leaves for a long time for them to have a desire to have communication continue, but don't have the opportunity. And I know that several parents who I've asked about appreciate having a second date in the spring. Now, the adjustment of when that date would be was because of the faculty advisory committees that met. They wanted to see it early in the spring. And if you see that for our second parent-teacher conference, we're asking for January 15th. Both of those are full-day conferences. So that does add one more to the normal routine as it has been in the past. And if you look at the colorful sheet that Brothers Printing had made for us that will be added to our school system website, the yellow section on the left-hand side reflects the time. So it still affords the same times as we've had before. It's just not going to be 2 half days on the Thursday, Friday, but it's going to be a full day for that one commitment. And that's from the the teachers of the faculty advisory committee have made that suggestion to have that break in the midday where they can go take care of personal business, get fed, and then come back and be ready for work. But I feel like in support, and the teachers present and the parents support having increased opportunities for communication in a formal manner that we can help each other aspire to higher ground for their students' learning. To do that, however, it does require an adjustment to 2 existing board policies because of the policies that read that you have included. It does say that in the first one being policy 1.800, and we're looking at line 10 in that policy, it says one day parent-teacher conferences. It's got 1 day, but it's plural. And then also on policy 5.110, it says in line 18, 5 days designated by the board, teachers shall use 1 day for parent-teacher conferences. When you compare it back to the TCA code, TCA reads, and it's TCA 49-6-3004, that any changes to this in additional, those 4 administrative days have to be approved by the board based on the recommendation of the director of schools. And it's my recommendation, we're still using 5 administrative days, but instead of devoting 2 days set aside for faculty meetings and learning labs for the teachers, I'd like to have 2 days for parent-teacher conferences and 1 day devoted to those. So that's my recommendation to the board to consider. And it would change both of those policies.
So I'll make a motion to approve the calendars.
Okay. So I say 2 policies.
What, do you need to vote on each one of them?
There's 2 that were changed.
To approve the calendar first and then.
and then approve the calendar.
Okay.
Affect the calendar.
All right. Then make a motion on the policies.
So I'll make a motion to change the policy.
That's second.
All right. Have a motion second to change the school policies, both policies. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. Okay, we change the policies now for the school
Make a motion to
calendar.
approve the calendar now.
Okay. Want to make a motion for that, sir?
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we got a motion to second to approve the school calendar. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed no. Okay, then we change this, approve the schedule. Okay, the next thing that was on the agenda, y'all see here, is the superintendent evaluation. But we're going to move that back to either June or July. Troy's only been in for about 6 months now, and we thought, to be fair, we should be in for a year, and then we'll look at that, and so we'll just move that back.
Didn't want to give him incomplete.
That's right.
Not yet.
But anyway, so we'll just do that over the summer. All right, next thing is gonna be some updates, and Troy, what do we have?
Well, you've had a chance to read through the updates that were provided to you with the board package. I would ask first if anybody's got any questions or want to raise any concerns or share anything, but the very last bullet, I would like to address to the board, not necessarily for action at this point, but just to raise your awareness. And I've asked our supervisor of finance, Stacy King, to be here to field some questions that you might have. But before we get to that, does anybody have any questions with any of the above bullets?
When did you schedule for the bid opening on the steel or?
Sarah,
It has not been rescheduled.
okay. I had when he came in last Monday to let us know that he would not be able to do that job until June or July, I asked Sarah and Stacy to go back to the bid proposal and revise it with newer dates, and also pursue 3 companies that Brian Crocker had provided that were reputable area fencers. He gave 3 names, and I don't remember off the top of my head, but 3 businesses in Jackson, from Jackson.
Has it ever been bush hogged around?
Yes, it has.
Not been surveyed?
No, the survey has not been done. And actually, when Mr. Leon and I were there, Latasha came up and showed us where the property lines were. So there was an agreement between her and us, and that was the real question mark, is where on the north side was the existing property line. So she shared that information with us and repeated it several times. So we both had agreement. There was tree lines that are cut, you just have the stumps up now, but it follows a linear path that travels from her property corner, where she's got a gated fence in the back of the property, and it goes straight across. You can see the line and the trees made. There's still one standing tree closer to 22A, but it's all in line where she said the property line is. So our plans would be with whomever wants to consider being part of this bid. I will definitely walk them and show them exactly which side of the tree line we're going to be on for the fencing.
The way I understand them, they'll be going to 1 week in the paper, and it's a matter of the date that'll coordinate with the schedule and the walkthrough.
I suggest that we put it in Jackson Sun also. I mean, we don't have that many fence contractors in Chester County that we take the Chester County.
Well, Troy has found 3 in Jackson.
I know that, but in further things, I think the Jackson Sun might be, do y'all think so?
Yes, some from other counties too.
Huh?
Jackson.
I know, they go all the west and
Well,
south.
and I agree, Norris, I think it does a better way of getting somebody unknown to know what we're asking for, where somebody may not take the Henderson, Chester County Independent, because it's about the weekly paper. Right. So I think in the past, that's why they've been able to identify prior to the start of the bid process, any businesses that might be interested and contact them in addition to, which that's what we're going to plan to do anyway. But I agree. Now, it's going to be more costly, I believe.
Yeah. But I think that's something we'll do. Is that something the board has to approve?
Yeah, I think so. I guess it had to be approved.
Y'all support that? I mean, that's no problem for us, we can do that. conversation, so I don't wanna,
Well, I mean, it would free up the payroll clerk a lot of her time. I mean, she spends, printing the checks, putting the checks in envelopes, delivering. I mean, it saves a lot of time just as far as the person doing the job. But it's also gonna save money as far as your check stock. Check stock is expensive, especially the laser checks that run through the printer. So it's gonna save money there as well. And with the Affordable Care Act, there is a lot of additional reporting that's gonna have to be reported, and somebody's gotta do that. And so I think it'll free up some time to allow more emphasis to be put on that.
How many are doing direct deposit now?
About 2/3. There's about 1/3 that are still receiving a check.
Have you had any
Companies has
feedback
gone to.
from that third?
we're just talking to you first.
Okay.
We have
So they would have to have a
Checking.
checking account in a bank.
Yes. Which if you think about it, even if you retire and you're drawing Social Security, you have to have a checking account. So I mean, they're gonna have to get one.
They're gonna have to have
anyway.
checking
So,
account, I mean, that's, but it's not the big direct deposit.
Well, I know in years and years ago, when we didn't have that as an option, and then the way the banking system here locally was, it closed at 3. So if you got your check,
Right.
you were trying to think strategically, how am I gonna get that to a bank before they close? And still, you're teaching kids all that. So it is comforting to know that it's an option that can get it done quicker and more efficient.
And the money will be in the bank. No reason not to do it.
Will you do all payroll, I mean, substitute teacher and everything?
Everybody is
Everybody.
required to do direct deposit. And of course, I think y'all know with the work that I've done before, I worked with many counties in West Tennessee, and I would say 90 to 95% of them require all employees to be direct deposit.
What about the janitors, cooks and all them, do they have,
Your employee.
do they have bank accounts?
Well, they can get one.
We started with y'all, I did not poll them first.
They can get a checking account. Don't cost anything.
Yeah, no.
You get a checking account?
Yeah.
To keep on.
Yeah, I'll keep her paid.
We've always had over $500.
Yeah, you have to maintain the balance.
When you get to be a senior citizen, they don't apply. I keep mine about 100.
Do you think that that would affect very many of these 1/3 that they might not have a checking account?
Well, I don't understand your question.
Of this third that still gets a check? I mean, I know you've not got any way of saying, but would they have checking accounts?
And I mean, we can take what I was wanting to do is just entertain this thought with you.
Is there any way to get some feedback from that third, as
Yes.
to why they would not want?
I am willing, through our office,
That's what I'd like to do.
to put out a memo to the schools for them to get it. And again, just to get some feedback from them and to kind of share with them what I'm sharing with you. I know that they're not asked to know what all has to take place, but now everyone who does know knows that our payroll clerk is here at many odd hours for the work. And it is time consuming with some of that stuff, plus having to have the building or have it available for somebody to hand out checks for them when they come in. And during Christmas holidays when they came in, there were still some that didn't pick up their checks.
How about the county?
That's what I was thinking, if I could address that.
Yeah.
We went on all direct route 2 years ago. We had 3 people that didn't have a checking account, but they didn't give us a fuss about it. They went on a checking account. That way, you don't have to worry about losing checks in the mail or having checks stolen or anything else. I'm talking about the mail more than ours.
We don't know the postman are.
But
Scan the mail.
it's a whole lot easier. A whole
Well,
lot easier.
I agree, and I have direct deposit. And
I don't
think we
think no
should, but I would still like a little feedback and see,
Understood? Yeah, I would.
Say you want to get
But I think we should try
paid,
to
check
get
it
away
account.
with it.
Yeah, to shut it down.
There are. Yeah, that's right. It's not bad, necessarily.
Stay out the grid other places, banks I sort of like.
Well, we will have information to share with the board for our next meeting about this. We'll get some feedback.
Thank you, Stacey. Well, it's all of our agendas. Does anybody have anything they'd like to bring up? All right.
Make a motion with adjourn.
All right,
Second that.
Hey, before we go there, let me just share something real quick. Well, take a breath, I'm sorry. I want to say congratulations to a couple of our young men, seniors at the high school recently discovered that scored a perfect 36 on their ACT. Matthew Johnson and Andrew Creech. And I've asked Mary, and she's graciously accepted to do an article in the paper, not only about those two guys, but we also have a sophomore that scored a 35. Which that is also, that's Colton Cronin who scored it. But there's several other students that have scored well above the national norm of acceptable numbers. And again, we know that we are trying to raise the bar of our instruction so that the students' learning is what is called college and career ready. Right now, the ACT test is the best mark out there that lets you know whether students are going to be successful or not. When you score 36, that means a 36, whether you're coming out of Henderson, Tennessee, or whether you're coming out of Boston, Massachusetts. That's a big deal. And we're very proud of those and those others who score in that top. So I've asked Mary, and she's, like I said, graciously accepted to do an article about them. But also I want to say this, because there's some educators in the room that had a vested interest in those two boys. So we're very, this is not just a high school venture. This is from kindergarten all the way through, and all of those teachers who put in that extra time and effort to make sure that these students are met where they need to be and push them a little bit further. That's why they're able to claim the success that they have and will reap many benefits from it. So we're very proud of them and all students who score exceptionally well with the ACT.
Well, each boy's sister, Lydia, she got well up there, told me 36, I don't remember exactly what it was now, but it was crowded.
We've touched it many times, got real close, but it's 36 is the best you can do. So,
Send it back to the half board.
I will.
You made 36 on most tests.
Sure. Do that. Congratulations on the program.
He spent most of the summer on the last one.
So, anything else before we go? I have a motion second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
You too.